Creating a settlement is much like constructing a building. You start at an empty plot of land, place down your markers, dig some foundations, level some ground, and add the required materials which the builders turn into the final shape you desire. This was the core of the Settlers franchise, until Ubisoft's executives destroyed it one sequel at a time. But now we are starting over, alongside these fantastic indie developers, led by the very person who envisioned the little cute settlers working their jobs day and night for your fun and pleasure. Now, I could be harsh and say this game should have evolved with the genre, and these little folks you manage in Pioneers of Pagonia could have led actual lives along with their jobs. But that would be a large step away from the original premise most of us fell in love with all those years ago. So no, I am not here to say what the game should or could be, but to celebrate what it is. An unofficial remake of the Settlers and a very official continuation of the most relaxing and enjoyable settlement builder and manager. And that is exactly what I want to showcase here. The mellow sounds and music, the pastel colorful tones of the graphics and art designs, and the gentleness of the animations. If I had to pick a game to start my own kid playing PC games, I would turn on some future pacifist mode of Pioneers of Pagonia and let him sail into the beautiful world of PC gaming, just like the colony ships in this game sail into a misty bay of a new map and let you start a fresh settlement. Let us now take a closer look at the main promise of this game, that being interconnected production chains which you can both manage and observe firsthand. And does the demo deliver on that promise? Do note, this is still only a playable alpha version, and there are loads of gameplay mechanics which have yet to be implemented, but the core of it is here. And after placing the first roads, I followed the tutorial instructions to the letter, setting up one production chain after another, starting with the woodcutter's hut next to the small forest patch and a sawmill just down the road from it. This basic and renewable production chain, considering you can plant your own forests with the forester, is where we start with the wood, which is a resource used in many production processes across the settlement, and there are several types of wood collected. You can directly observe each woodcutter and forester at their job, physically cutting and growing these trees, carrying trunks to the hut, from where they will be moved to the sawmill. At this next step, you can once again observe the piles of wood growing at the sawmill, waiting for the workers there to turn them into useful beams, boards, or firewood. Each step and each motion is animated, and you are able to follow your own production chain to see how and where each resource is gathered, distributed, and processed. It is the same with border stones used by your guards to expand your territory. They start off as only big chunks of rock, which the workers at the stonemason carve down to size and package into neat wooden baskets. This is why this building also uses wood as a resource. When these are stacked outside the stonemasons, they are moved over to the guard tower for final use. Once you run out of raw stone from the ship's supplies, you start using local stone piles your miners at the quarry chip away from large boulders. So here too you have a production chain which starts off from resource harvesting, and its raw or refined products become the cornerstone of future more complex production chains. Food is one resource you can both harvest from nature in a few ways, like gathering or hunting. Later fishing will be added, but also grow yourself at farms which require an investment of time and basic resources. All these food commodities have their own production chains, which we can follow step by step and one animation at a time, up to the final moments when food is consumed, either at the local tavern by hungry settlers or far away at the misty edges of your expanding territory where explorers consume their provisions as they reveal new lands you can inhabit and resources you can exploit. More examples of final products are both trained and equipped soldiers, as well as chests of shiny things you can keep in your settlement's treasury. Each soldier is a simple settler at first, but with the proper training in the corresponding building and the tools of his trade, those being weapons you craft locally, he turns into a capable warrior and defender. The chests stored in the treasury are a product of an equally long production chain and require many of the resources found across the island. It is not yet clear what are all the uses for these, but one will probably be trade. As for the others, we can only guess, and you can tell me your ideas for them in the comments down below. There are many production steps in between which lead to all these outputs of your settlement's economy, and to me it was incredibly satisfying being able to watch every step of it taken by my settlers and every single commodity up for inspection at the front of each production building. I felt instantly teleported 2 decades ago and my first gameplay session of the Settlers, where I stumbled through with no internet guides or helpful videos to lead me, lacking even comprehensive English skills. A uniquely balanced, fun and learning experience that was. The UI is of course a placeholder, and while it does attempt to give you an overview of all the moving parts and many stats of the settlement, I honestly feel much more connected to my settlement's economy by simply zooming in and watching it in action. For me, this feature is the main strength and selling point of Pioneers of Pagonia, and that is why I am so glad this demo showed it off working perfectly and so obviously. The mechanics are there, the charm is there, now it is up to the developers to fill it with the rest of the content before and during early access, which starts on the 13th of December 2023. I hope the first thing they do is give this lady farmer an actual tool to work with, as well as the accompanying animation, because watching her strike plants pretending to hold a pickaxe is both hilarious and confusing at the same time, especially as the sound of a pickaxe is heard each time she strikes. Funny stuff aside, we have yet to see the whole combat system between soldiers, sorceresses and bandits, as well as beasts on the other side. Equally important will be the guards versus thieves system and the whole looting of the settlement and trade carriers. And trade itself is supposed to be a big gameplay mechanic leading into other islands and their populations for us to experience. I see a bright future for this game both in sales and on my channel, so I cannot wait for the next demo or preview build to be able to experience the full game and show it off to you in its entirety. If you want to see more similar videos and games, use the cards on the screen. Thank you for watching and happy gaming!